What's up, everybody? It's your favorite train spotting's favorite nerd, and today we are looking at the combined form of Raiden, or Radiatron, whatever they decided to call it, from Moon Studios. And I know that he's not pictured right here. That's because we've already filmed some of the combining elements, so I don't have like the separate pieces to show you. But I know it is painfully obvious that he's not here. Painfully obvious in the same way as somebody who gains a lot of weight over a short period of time tries to hide it. What? No, I know it's 1,000 degrees. I always dress this way. I actually find it more comfortable, don't I? See? And I only say that because I just got back from Cali and I ate like a champ, but now I'm in lockdown mode. Time to shed some LBs so I can be somewhat presentable for the back half of summer. But we're gonna go through this guy. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. We're going to go through the combining, then we're gonna go through the articulation, then we're gonna go through the accessories, and then we'll wrap up with some final thoughts after we do some size comparison. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so let's get started, and we're gonna take this and insert it into there and slide it up, which will put these two bars in place to be encapsulated by this white section here. And I'm just trying to see what I'm doing. All right. And then plug all that in. Now, same thing for this side. Once again, slid this piece back, inserting in, sliding forward, and then grabbing a hold of the back of it and encapsulating. So far, solid as a rock. All right, so when connecting the next part, you have these connections down here at the bottom. And these back two, you want to sit back because they're gonna like clip on at the end. And then these three, we're gonna sit in and then push back. And they go here, here, and here. So we're going to do our best. It's just hard to do the camera there. And then we're going to push back. And then once we've pushed back, and this one didn't latch. Damn it. It's a little frustrating. All right. Sit in. I'm gonna pull this there. Slide back. And then I'm gonna push those pieces the best I can back. And that should keep her kind of set. These two pieces have to sort of interlock around these two squares, which I will do my best to show, but I am not sure how much luck I am gonna have on camera. I might have to just split these apart. Let me see. That might be enough. Sorry if you can't see this. But hopefully it'll make sense if you gotta split those two tabs there and then get them around those two gray squares. You know, that's the goal. And then we got to do the same thing on the other side. Just get that around and then lock it in. And there he is combined. And I got news for you. He's better than I expected once the other arm is on. I had the other arm on earlier before I got the final one in and was not pleased really at all. Now I got this thing undone. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, proportionately, I'm happy. I'm happy with a lot of this that I didn't think I necessarily was going to be. So let's go through articulation. Of course, we'll go piece by piece because of the size of this fella, so to speak. And we'll talk about the deco as we do it. So head sculpt wise, I think it works. I think it looks good. We have a ball peg connected to well, it's not, it's just really the ball peg, but it has a tendency to come undone. I have ankle stability issues as well. I'm just pointing that out. You get up to there, hopefully you can see that, down to there, which is nice, side to side, confused Raiden look. You can also bend his horns because his horns come collapsed. All right, let's hold her there. The arms, you get a little bit of a butterfly joint, which is nice, and then you get the ratcheted joint out. You do have to kind of keep it all together because it has a tendency to want to come undone a little bit, specifically up here in the torso. But you can get the arm out to 90 degrees with no issue after you kind of take care to get it there. And then, of course, we'll go ahead and show the rest here because it's easy. You have a bicep swivel, obviously. We've looked at that already. Elbow, that gets you 90 degrees. Wrist swivel, and then the fingers are individually articulated. The thumb has a hinge at the base and then a secondary hinge right above it, and then a tertiary hinge. All of the fingers are on a base pin knuckle with a secondary hinge that moves side to side, tertiary hinge, and then I don't know what the fourth one is, but it's got a fourth one too, so you got full movement there, and I like the little gems and stuff throughout. Let's get this guy back down there, and then it ratchets around for 360 movement, and as you can see, holds the weight just fine in terms of this joint. But as you can see, he's still, like, my ankles are not the strongest. This shoulder is going to operate the same way because it's pretty much the same thing. This is where I have the most kind of connectivity issues. Once again, we have a little bit of a butterfly joint. You can get up to 90 degrees. Bicep swivel. Elbow bend. That gets you 90 degrees. Wrist swivel. Fingers are the same because it's the same on the same hand. And this has come undone as I've gone to manipulate it, like the side piece here. And then you get the 360 around, and as you can see, holds its weight just fine, but does once again to lean forward a bit. Waist swivel, no issues there, no ab crunch. We do have hip skirts that can get up and out of the way. I'm going to try to do this the best I can. We're only going to do one side because this is the same. We'll show both knees. But you get out to the side, 290 degrees, but the ratchet's a little wide. And forward to 90 degrees. That has a harder time holding his weight, but when are you going to have him do a free kick? So we'll put this back down, and we'll show the knee. And some of this stuff is coming apart. The knee gets you 90 degrees. Ankle ratcheted down, up, and a rocker. We'll do this one as well. Ratcheted knee, 90 degrees, down, and then ankle tilt up, ankle tilt down, and a rocker. To a pretty great level, to be honest. And that's all I got. Let me show you him from the back. And there it is from the back. So, pretty clean. Despite the lack of parts forming, you know, you gotta admit, it's pretty clean. Pretty clean throughout. It's not really my issues with this guy. We will get to those, though. But first, let's get to accessories. So, obviously, you have your two wings. There's two pegs and two holes. There's actually two holes, so to speak, on each portion here that you can use. You want to use the one that's furthest towards the center. Otherwise, you'll just really make yourself kind of frustrated. But there you go. The guns from the robot modes of the arms can peg right into here on the side of the train. And that is on both sides. And then we've kind of already talked about this, but the other guns, I believe, can tab in to the softer plastic bit there and kind of be stored on the back for the leg bots. Obviously, same on this side. I don't know if I have these guns right. They fall off. They have a tendency to fall off, and I have a tendency to get 50-50s wrong, but you can do it with either. And all of this stuff has a tendency to come undone for me, too. Just kind of a frustrating bit of business as well. And then we have his gun, which we've kind of already talked about, but we have this handle that can flip up, and then the large handle can flip down, and then we have the holding piece here, obviously tab here. You can tab that in, and he actually holds that pretty well, but he has a tendency to want to flip over for me. Size comparison wise, there he is next to my Superion and Fort Max, so it gives you a little bit of a difference between the two. And then now they're perfectly balanced, like all things should be. I love to see it. Final thoughts wise, let's start with the negatives. There's some stability issues here, and I'll tell you exactly where it is. It's more stable than I thought it was going to be, so let me say that as well. And I mean that both in terms of what I thought it was going to be prior to even buying one piece, after learning that it wasn't going to be parts forming, and also once I had 5/6 of it combined, I thought it wasn't going to be as sturdy as it ended up being. But that doesn't mean it's without issue in regards to stability. And individual results will vary. But let me be clear. I have all the little hooks and crannies done in. But my biggest issue is on these pauldrons here, these like shoulder pieces. Not this one, but this one on the opposite end has a tendency to want to completely come undone due to this. I don't have it so much on this side, but I have it on this side. I also have a tendency for him to want to lean forward, which is ironic because when I had one arm on, he wanted to lean back. But with two arms on, he wants to lean forward. I have to do a lot of adjusting in the ankles, but the ankle ratchets aren't really strong enough to hold the weight because the ankles are really just their knee joints. It's the bot's knees joints. And you know, when we've been manipulating the knees, they felt like good ratchets, but they don't feel like they can hold the weight of all of this, and they can't really. The other problem is the size of the teeth within the ratchet, both at the hips and in the ankles. Both of those have a tendency to want to make it not have as much control as you would like it to in order to get it solidified, or balanced is perhaps a better word. So if you think about it, right, it's this piece, which would normally be a parts forming piece. It's this piece, which would normally be a parts forming piece, and it's this piece, which would normally be a parts forming piece. And I have to say that while this is without a doubt the most stable non-parts forming combiner in this scale that I have ever messed with, it's not quite as stable as most of the others because of the specific pieces that are often used to parts form. But it is done better than normal, and it is done better than most. And I didn't think it was going to be. But there are positives as well, and plenty of them. It is very well articulated, given that it is a combiner. It's also very stable, given that it is not parts forming. But I have to say, I don't think it's as stable as it would have been had it had the parts forming. I have to be a little bit more careful, and as a result, I find him a little bit more limiting. That's not to say that I think he's bad. I think the sculpt is absolutely amazing. I think it's incredible what they were able to achieve without the parts forming. MMC, eat your heart out. Now, I know they have the hands in and all that, but still, this is without a doubt the most amazing feat that I've ever seen without a ton of parts forming. However, I'm not sure if it's better off for it at the end of the day. That being said, I'm happy with my purchase. I'm happy with it because the aesthetic is beautiful, the size is intimidating, it's structurally sound. As long as you use extreme caution, it's fairly well balanced. As long as you use extreme caution, and perhaps not even as much extreme caution, just caution with the balancing. The trains are all fun in and of themselves, and I enjoyed looking at all of them except for the upper body. So yeah, I can definitely recommend this. I think that overall it is a good thing. I'm just not sure if it's as good as it could have been had they gone a different direction structurally. And that's my opinion, man. But good enough. Good enough is kind of where I see this one. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.